Okay, so this is a little bit of an update on my VERUS node. I've already unscrewed this from here. Anyway, it was, updating the blockchain and whatnot. But in my reading and paying a little bit better attention to the video I watched that helped me out with this, I noticed that the individual who was making the video said you need at least 64 gigabytes of space. Well, that's a 64 gigabyte SSD, or SD card rather. Problem with that, this also houses my operating system and a bunch of other tools, right? So that really kind of limits what I can do with that. And if I need at least 64 gigabytes to house the blockchain, then I need to come up with an alternative. That's where this comes in. And the way I had it originally set up, this thing wasn't even mounted yet. And if I'm in the middle of I already have an operating system installed, I'm already updating the blockchain, already trying to download it, trying to sync with it. This really can't help me in the state that it's currently in, which is nothing right now. So what I plan to do is put the same image I put onto this guy onto here, and then boot from this thing. I know there's a way to do it, so hopefully in the next shot I'll have that done. And just in case I don't shoot any of it, what I plan to do, I have a little USB to NVMe writer. Actually, it's a cloner, but you can write straight to it. I'm hoping I can flash the operating system image onto this directly, and then plug this in, and then I'm only going to have the SD card in there. And this should be a lot faster than an SD card. This is 512 gigs, so it's a lot bigger. And these tend to be a hell of a lot more reliable. So in the next shot, hopefully I'll have something to demonstrate that. Okay, so the idea is I use this some sort of NVMe cloner. Got it off Amazon. I probably paid way too much for it. Plug it into one of these spots. I believe this is the right spot because I've used it before for other things. I will say that so there's two styles of M.2 drive. There is the SATA M.2. Well, there's more than that, but the two that I'm familiar with or even used in any capacity. There's the SATA M.2, which is not what this is, and then there's the NVMe M.2, which is what this is. Okay, it's important to note because NVMe is not hot swappable, so this thing can't be powered on. Well, it can be. You can plug and unplug stuff. I don't know if you'll damage anything or not. Probably not. But point is, everything has to be off before you plug it in if you want to be able to use it. So you have everything powered off, including the system that it's going to. Okay, plug your stuff in and power the system back on, and make sure this device is turned on as well, and then it should read it in your BIOS or whatever in your OS, whatever. So I'm not cloning a drive. I'm just going to write to this, and it just makes it easier for me rather than having to take apart my whole system and do it that way. So that's the reason why I got this device, and that's what I'll be using it for today. I will note, and there are probably other brands that are better than this. Even though this has active cooling, this thing gets super damn hot. So just know that and be aware of that going into it. I would not recommend booting from this. I recommend it only for pretty much what I'm doing. If you're backing up an NVMe or you're going to write an image straight to it without having to do any kind of weirdness with going through the operating system. So in the next clip, I'll show you what I'm doing, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm currently logged into my system. I'm actually using Linux Mint. You know what? I've been tossing this around. I've been distro hopping. I kind of like Linux Mint. And that opinion may change, but for now it seems to do what I need it to do. Anyway, so I go up here, an old video I made. I've sung the praises of this application, and I highly recommend it. Now, there are some things that I like Rufus better for. I don't know if there's a Linux version of Rufus. I usually use it on Windows, but Balena Etcher is good for this application. It just works. So, launched it. Okay. So flash from file, click on that. Okay. Now I've already downloaded it. Should be in my downloads folder, and it is. And I've already unzipped it. And I recommend, if you're going to keep archives of all your ISOs and images, to do better than this. Put it in your documents folder and then maybe keep a backup somewhere. I do have a backup of a lot of stuff I use. But anyway, I unzipped it, and this is what you want. You want the Orange Pi, Debian. I use Bullseye. There's other ones to use, but this is the one I use. It has worked for me, so that's what I use. So I click on that, and actually, you could probably just double click it. Yep, and double click it. All right, select target, and if it recognized it. Click on that, and we'll see if this works. It should. It recognized it. So select and hit flash. You're about to erase in a usual large heart. Nah, yeah. So that's important to heed, right? Because you don't know. Maybe you don't want this big drive, but I do. So I say yes, I am sure, and I gotta type in my super secret password. And then hit enter, and it's doing it. Holy crap, that is a lot faster than trying to flash an SD card. Which means everything I do once I get this installed on the Pi should be a lot faster using this NVMe. That's crazy. That is insane how fast that is. That's amazing. Okay, well, in the next clip, hopefully I'll have something else good to show you. Good news, it works. I didn't have to do anything special. So I know there's other ways of doing it. I've seen other videos on this where you can like transfer the image from your SD card to your NVMe slot on these devices, but didn't have to do that because of the way I flashed it. I flashed it straight to the NVMe, and it works perfectly. I am very happy with those results. And just to kind of show, yep, see? It is reading the NVMe. And what the cool thing is, if I needed to do this, I would have access to that SD card, SD slot, and I could, I don't know, back files up to it, do other things, I don't know, use this to write images. I mean, there's a lot of different applications. I love this single board computer. It's like $80 on Amazon, so it's not a bad deal. I definitely recommend a different fan and heatsink setup, unless you want to use maybe thermal glue. You can see the again, I'm using the one that's not designed for this. It's designed for a Orange Pi, just not this version, but it is definitely working. And as you can see, no hocus pocus, my SD slot is empty. It's because it is reading from the NVMe. So yeah, that is very cool. Yep, I'm very happy with those results. So that should alleviate any or some headaches with trying to get this thing set up as a VERUS node. So I think somebody in the comments from my previous video leading up to this one asked what VERUS is. VERUS is a blockchain. It is a type of cryptocurrency. So you don't have to run a VERUS node to mine VERUS. In fact, you don't run a VERUS node to mine VERUS. You run a VERUS node to basically be a functional part of the network that facilitates transactions within the network. And actually, you get rewarded for that. So it's not a bad idea to try to set one of these up, at least for no other reason. The reason that got me into it, although I would like to make some money off this, and I have made a little bit of crypto, I'm not gonna lie, but it's the tinkering aspect of it. I mean, look at this. Well, if I hadn't have that little carrot on a string, I would not have been able to achieve that, which doesn't seem like much to some people, but it's a lot to me. You know, for blue collar working stiffs such as myself to actually be able to, you know, set up what effectively is a, I don't know, $120 computer that's pretty powerful. I mean, maybe it's not a gaming beast, but it does what I need it to do. I think it's neat. I think all this stuff is neat. Anyway, that'll be it. I'm going to go ahead and install the operating system. No, I already have the operating system installed. Go ahead and install the blockchain, everything else. But I got to retrieve my IP address. And speaking of which, okay, now I know. All right, so yeah, retrieve my IP address. I got that. So I'm going to plug my monitor back into my main system. And I'm going to go from there. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.